This is a follow-up video on my disagreement with the Mud Brooker and his 3 videos, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the experience of disagreeing with someone in this political way. We'll start with the girl in question who was registering only Republicans. Still, I have not seen evidence that this girl was not pre-screening in a legal way. The camera that was used to film this girl only caught the second interaction of the woman filming and the girl doing it. And the first interaction very well could have been, who do you want to win for, in the presidential election, or what party are you from? And if the girl then said nothing after that and then asked another person, and if they answered correctly, she offered them a voter registration form or asked if they were registered voters, that would have been completely legal. And the girl, the lady who was filming this, saw an opportunity to try to, paint her in a bad light. Because even if it's legal, which it is, it does seem very immoral to only want to register one particular party. Even though most of the time that I see women for Obama or volunteers for the Obama campaign, they're at things like the Slut Walk or the We Are Women March. I'll be at the We Are Women March on October 6th, and I'm pretty sure that my voter registration drive will not be the only one there. There will be women for Obama all over the place, and they chose that venue because they know that there's more Democrats there. You don't have to offer your services to everyone, but should you offer someone a voter registration form and they're filling it out, and then you ask their party while they're filling out, you can't rip it out of their hands. You have to let them finish. It's the law. And once they fill it out and they fill out a party that you don't like, you can't do anything but turn it in. It's the law as a voter registration drive. Now, previously, I had treated this girl as if she were a volunteer because I spoke with many people in the El Paso County Republican Party, and I also read the local news sources, which aren't treating this the same way. And we all know that the El Paso County Republican headquarters is not paying anyone at all to register people to vote. They actually do it on a volunteer basis. And they actually don't have to do much at all in order to ensure that their candidates will win, because I live in an evangelical Christian Mecca with focus on the family and, life megachurch and all sorts of weirdness here. We're far outnumbered. They don't have to. They basically give their money to the state GOP, which tries to register Republicans in other counties, with money. Come to find out that this girl actually was getting paid to register Republicans in this county. But it wasn't by the El Paso County GOP. It was by strategic allied consultants who were paid for by the state party. Now, this does change things a bit because local media and even Ryan Call, the chairman of the El Paso County Republican Party, did not know this when they first were quoted. Nobody knew that this wasn't a poor little girl who was being, put in the spotlight and being used to make a point out of. Nobody knew that she was being paid to do this. This being the case, it does seem to me that strategic allied consultants should train their circulators to answer the question correctly, that they're working for strategic allied consultants, not the Romney campaign, not the clerk and registrar, the clerk and recorder. None of that. They work for Strategic Allied Consultants, and they're paid for by the state Republican Party. They should be able to answer that without a problem. Why she was being so secretive about it, I don't know. It's not illegal to pre-screen voters. It's just not. And even in the video, there's no evidence that she was doing anything but pre-screening. This video was the second interaction that this lady had had with her. But I don't feel as sympathetic to her for answering that she was working for the county clerk and recorder. She doesn't seem as innocent, even though she's still the same age. In my eyes, her being paid to do that, she should have been trained like I train all of my circulators. And they could be facing fines of, tens of thousands of dollars, because what the girl did very stupidly was impersonate a public official. Not because she had a preference for who she was setting out to register as a demographic, just because she answered the question wrong. But here's the thing. The Secretary of State has the onus to bring upon these charges, upon her. And the Secretary of State in Colorado is a Republican. So if it's going to happen, it's going to need some pressure from the media and some activists if she's going to be prosecuted for that thing in particular. Because they're still going to say that she was a young girl, who was a little mixed up and did not know her job that she was being paid to do. She just didn't know how to perform her job. But after watching the Mudbrookers videos, reading all the new news that has come out about this, I can tell you one felony that they will not be able to get out of. And this is something that the media has not talked about whatsoever yet, but as a voter registration drive organizer, I know this quite well. The owner of Strategic Allied Consulting had to be a voter registration drive organizer registered with the Secretary of State in order to pay people to register people to vote here in this state. That's how it works. If there are more than two people in collusion to register people to vote, and that doesn't mean like paired up like Mormons and actually going out together in pairs. That means if there's more than two people in collusion, like if there's an employee-employer relationship, this group has to be registered as a voter registration drive. It is the freaking law in Colorado. Link in the description box to every registered voter registration drive. There's a list on the Secretary of State's website. Strategic Allied Consulting is not on the list, which means paying people to register people to vote in this state while not being a voter registration drive organizer and having no voter registration drive agents or official circulators in this state, them paying people is, the more than one person relationship here. That's a felony. Okay? You can look up the state statutes on it, too. And there's no getting around it now because they've caught her registering to vote, registering people to vote on camera. They know who she was working for. They know why she was being paid to be there. They can look up her paycheck. And they know that the organizer for Strategic Allied Consulting, I believe his name is Nathan Sproul, he lives in Arizona. So he's outside the state, which is legal. You can be outside of the state. Rock the Vote does this all the time. You can be outside of the state and register as an organizer in all 50 states. But if there's more than one person You have to be registered in that state to do things in that state. I'll leave a link in the description box to the list of voter registration drives that are approved for this year. I'll try to put the statute that they are in violation of, which will, probably be thousands upon thousands of dollars of fines, if not felony charges against them. I don't know. And I guess all I really want to say after that is it's been an experience disagreeing with someone here on YouTube and not coming from the liberal perspective. I know that when I made a video criticizing Thunderfoot for the entire House divided thing and saying that I like our House more like a Shark Tank, where if one of us is wrong, someone will speak up rather than being all a House United thing that looked a little preachy to me. That was, over a year ago, I think. And also, I criticized Pat Condell in a video, and both times, even though I felt like I had a really good point, I got a whole bunch of down thumbs because I dared to attack a member of YouTube royalty. Now, disagreeing with the Mudbrooker, and, I even had a link, like, subscribe to the Mudbrooker on my video, and I said that I am subscribed to him. I get entertainment value from his videos. I still got a lot of down thumbs, and not a lot of people telling me why, and even those who told me why, I was kind of like, I don't agree with them in principle, really. Starting with the Mudbrooker, I put this in a comment in his video where I put two things that he said in his video. One, that what would a skeptic do? He would look at the sources, naturally, and, he was dismissing Ryan Call's defense of this girl when Ryan Call thought that this was a volunteer and not a paid person doing this. He was dismissing Ryan Call because he was the Republican, GOP chairman for our party local here. And then he said in his video, the lady filming it doesn't matter what she, if she's wearing a I hate Romney or vote Obama t-shirt, it doesn't matter. Her biases as a source don't matter, but then the Republican chairman of the El Paso County Republicans, his biases matter. And if we're going to look at sources, there's the source of the excuse for this girl from him, and then there's the source of the fucking video. It is a source, and we can examine the source as skeptics, but I don't feel like in the Mudbrooker's second video, Agent of Doubt, I'm not buying it, like he was giving an equal weight to scrutinizing each source at all. So I put those two things that he said in his video in my comment to him, and just follow up with question marks, because they're ironic. They're like oil and water. Scrutinize the sources, but this source doesn't need scrutiny. And I had some people respond to that comment on his video, and no one really seeing the point that I was trying to make there. Did I not have a point? I mean, my own mind, I thought I had a point. We should look at this, and scrutinize everything. Then I got a comment from Wildwood Claire, where she said that in light of all of the different things that the Republican Party has done, to suppress the vote all around the country, my skepticism in this case is worthy of derision, you know. And I'm not even gonna attack her on a personal level for sophistry, because I'm a subscriber of hers too, and I enjoy her videos. I understand that she does just talk like a really old nerd. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how many other times the little incidents have popped up all over the world. Each and every one of them is deserving of scrutiny. You know, unbiased scrutiny. And by your statement, Wildwood Claire, I see bias. That, you know, if the Republicans are involved, of course they're wrong. You know, and whoever's trying to, you know, forget even defending them, whoever's trying to scrutinize it and withholding their judgment until they actually look at everything, if you even dare to do that, you are worthy of derision. Now, I have had talks with some other YouTubers of different political persuasions that aren't part of the liberal majority in the atheist community. One of them being Eagle Eye 1975, who is a very staunch lowercase l libertarian. I know a few Republicans who are atheists, both in my real life and on YouTube. And it is the case that if you dare to have a skeptical mind in certain matters, if you even bring up the question, you will have a landslide of down thumbs come your way. And I do feel like everything that I was afraid of in the atheism plus movement, in groupthink, you know, the groupthink was already there. You know, they were trying to put a brand on it. But if you don't think the groupthink is there, just look at something in the liberal democratic platform and give it some scrutiny. Raise a question. You don't even have to come out fully against it. Just say that you're questioning it. And watch what happens here on YouTube. It's not fun. So, those are my experiences. You know what? Here I am, a delegate for the GOP for my state. And I only joined them not because I agree with them, but because I wanted to try to change their platform within, you know, from within, with a lot of other people helping me. And I imagine that Stephen Colbert must get a lot of this, where people actually take him seriously because he's so good of a Poe that he probably has a very good understanding of the groupthink of the liberal side of things, you know. I don't know what to say other than, if you're of the mindset that something is beyond scrutiny, then I disagree with you. And if I feel like scrutinizing it, I will. Oops, my bad. I actually do have some other things to say. I'll leave links in the description box. Subscribe to the Mud Brooker and Wildwood Claire 1, both very entertaining people, even though I might be at risk for becoming a dim bulb of the week this week for my opinions. Subscribe anyway. Then, if you are in Colorado Springs or somewhere where you're going to get television transmissions from us, KOAA News, 10:30 p.m. on Tuesday, we'll be having an interview with one of the members of the Free Thinkers of Colorado Springs, Graf Schrader, and he will be interviewed on something that's a little bit bigger on the whole voter fraud scale. This weekend, on Sunday, there will be this thing called Pulpit Freedom Sunday. Google this, Pulpit Freedom Sunday. It's where preachers all across the country have basically decided that they want to be able to tell their parishioners exactly who to vote for, in violation of all of their tax-free statuses and what it takes to maintain them, and in violation of the separation of church and state, especially in the spirit of it. They want to be able to tell their parishioners exactly what to vote for on the ballot and who to vote for. Link in the description box about the general topic, but it's a bit bigger than a girl pre-screening for Republicans, because this is people being basically blackmailed with their eternal fate, in order to get them to vote a certain way. In my mind, much more heinous. And whatever, if you are in a city where there's a church that is participating in Pulpit Freedom Sunday, please go to that church and take notes, record it, whatever. And if they do endorse a particular political candidate, please send that into the IRS.